Women, as a collective, are often subjected to a subtle but pervasive form of gaslighting by society. This gaslighting isn't limited to personal relationships, but is embedded in everyday interactions, conditioning women to doubt their own thoughts, feelings, and even reality. Phrases like, "Maybe I got that wrong," "I don't know if that makes sense," or "maybe I'm crazy," are common when women speak, and these aren't just expressions of uncertainty. Rather, they reflect years of being dismissed, talked over, or ignored, a psychological consequence of societal gaslighting. It's no coincidence that women frequently use phrases that downplay their certainty or hedge their statements. The act of consistently doubting oneself, especially in conversations, is a learned behaviour, reflecting how society repeatedly questions women's credibility and knowledge. Women are often interrupted more frequently than men in conversations, especially in mixed-gender discussions. This pattern of being talked over or dismissed makes women less likely to assert their thoughts with confidence, contributing to a cycle of self-doubt that seeps into everyday interactions. Over time, these experiences teach women to hedge their language, preemptively softening their statements to avoid confrontation or dismissal. Beyond self-doubt, many women acknowledge feeling shut down, dismissed, or not believed when they speak. This goes far beyond the occasional disagreement or interpersonal conflict. It reflects a consistent pattern of societal behaviour where women's voices are devalued or outright ignored. In professional settings, for example, women are often overlooked when they suggest ideas, only for a man to restate the same point and receive validation. This phenomenon is so common that many women have a familiar refrain ready. "That's literally what I just said." The persistent dismissal of women's ideas, not because they lack merit, but because of gender biases, shapes how women communicate. It causes hesitation, self-censorship, and a reluctance to speak up, knowing their contributions might be ignored or attributed to someone else. One of the most frustrating responses women encounter when discussing these experiences is the claim from men that they deal with that too. While men may experience occasional dismissal or interruption, what women face is not an isolated incident. It's a systemic issue ingrained into the fabric of social interactions. Men who say, "we deal with that too," are often unaware of the frequency and depth of the issue. It's not about individual moments of being talked over. It's about a society that consistently undermines women's voices. Studies show that men perceive women as dominating conversations even when they speak the same amount, revealing the underlying biases that prioritize male voices. When men are interrupted or dismissed, they do not face the same systemic undermining of their authority and credibility as women do. Women, on the other hand, experience this from all angles, at work, in social settings, and even in the media. It's not just about being talked over occasionally, it's about a cultural norm that repeatedly silences women's contributions. A particularly striking example of this systemic dismissal is the common experience of women making a suggestion or offering an idea, only to have a man repeat it moments later and receive all the credit. This isn't just frustrating, it's erasure. Women's contributions are being dismissed in real time, and their ideas are only deemed valuable when they come from a man's mouth. This pattern reflects a deep-seated bias. Society is conditioned to listen to men first. When women are ignored, it's not because their ideas lack merit, it's because their gender automatically reduces the weight of their words. This dynamic creates a cycle where women are less likely to speak up, knowing that their contributions will either be ignored or attributed to someone else. The long-term effects of being consistently shut down, ignored, or gaslit are significant. It leads to women doubting their own intelligence, capabilities, and worth. When women are not heard, it reinforces a sense of invisibility and disempowerment. This undermines women's confidence, making them hesitant to speak up in the future, perpetuating the cycle of dismissal and silence. Gaslighting, in this context, is not just about manipulating someone into questioning their reality. It's about creating an environment where women are conditioned to do that themselves, even without direct external pressure. Society teaches women to doubt themselves, and that doubt seeps into every conversation, every decision, and every assertion of authority they might otherwise make. Women are gaslit by society in ways that are subtle yet pervasive, eroding their confidence and undermining their authority. The persistent dismissal, undermining, and appropriation of women's contributions are not isolated incidents, but part of a broader pattern that devalues women's voices. When men respond with, "We deal with that too," they dismiss the systemic nature of this problem. What women are facing is not just disagreement, it's a societal norm that prioritizes male voices over female ones. To create a more equal and respectful society, we need to start by acknowledging these deeply ingrained biases. It requires men to become more aware of how they contribute to silencing women, whether through direct actions or unconscious behavior. It also requires women to reclaim their space in conversations, unafraid to speak up without qualifiers. By actively listening, amplifying women's voices, and challenging the biases that lead to this systemic dismissal, we can begin to unravel the gaslighting that has long stifled women's contributions to society.